What's up, guys? Derek here with Tap and Turn Gaming, coming at you today with another EDH deck tech. Today's deck tech is for a subscriber requested deck by Inferno Gamer. He wanted to see our take on a Kalemne Disciple of Iroas Giant tribal deck, using Kalemne, who is one of the new C15 generals. So that's what we're going to do. Let's take a look at Kalemne. Kalemne is a 4-cost 3/3 with double strike and vigilance, so that's already a pretty nice body as it is. Get it? Chick. Nice body. Yeah. But she has, whenever you cast a creature spell with converted mana cost 5 or greater, you get an experience counter, which makes it fairly easy to get them, though it is a little more difficult than some because you do have to be casting them and they do have to be 5-cost or greater. But Kalemne Disciple of Iroas gets +1/+1 for each experience counter you have. I mean, once you can cast like 3 guys and she's up to +3/+3, being vigilance and double strike, that's a force right there. There's a lot that she could do. I mean, seeing as if she hits the opponent, she's hitting for 6 damage, that makes her a 4-turn clock. So even if you can pump her to a +1/+1, which makes her a 4/4, which means she'll hit for 8, that makes her a 3-turn clock. And then if you can pump her up 2, that would make her hit for 10. That also makes her a 3-turn clock. But if you can pump her up to 3, that means she'll hit for 6, which means she'll hit for 12, which makes her a 2-turn clock. So she gets dangerous very quickly. But as it is, she is a 4-turn clock with no pumps. But the second you play a guy, she becomes a 3-turn clock. And that's pretty cool. So let's take a look at the lands. We're running Ancient Amphitheater, Battlefield Forge, Boros Garrison, Boros Guildgate, Clifftop Retreat, Command Tower, Emeria the Sky Ruin to capitalize on our 12 plains, Reflecting Pool, Rugged Prairie, Sacred Foundry, Temple of Triumph, Valakut the Molten Pinnacle to capitalize on our 12 mountains, and Windscarred Crag. Pretty basic land-based red-white, not a lot really there. For artifacts, we are running Argentum Armor so we can destroy things, Ashnod's Altar. This will let us sacrifice our guys for mana, mostly to avoid exile type effects and tuck effects if we don't want that to happen. But there is some cool stuff we can do with it, so there is that. Boros Cluestone, Boros Keyrune, Boros Signet, Kardra's Closet, because a few of our guys have comes into play abilities and the flicker is nice. Nim Deathmantle, this has a pretty cool ability. Gives them +2/+2 and their Black Zombie and Intimidate if they're equipped. So this would make our general a 5/5, which means she would hit for 10. That's pretty cool. But also the better ability is whenever a non-token creature is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, you may pay 4. If you do, return that creature to the battlefield and attach Nim Deathmantle to it. Now what we generally will use this for is we will sacrifice the creature to Ashnod's Altar to get 2 mana. The creature will die, which will trigger Sunforge's ability, Nim Deathmantle's ability to be able to pay 4. So we'll only have to really pay 2 mana to be able to reuse a comes into play ability or a death ability. So that's pretty cool, and we have some ways we can abuse that. And then we have Sunforger. And this is just a really, really good equipment. 3-cost equipment, 3 cost to equip. Equipped creature gets +4/+0, which means if we put on our general, she's a 7/3 with double strike and vigilance, which means she's going to hit for 14 if she's unblocked, and that is serious damage. But, you know, Sunforger is pretty well known. You can pay red and white, unattached Sunforger, search your library for a red or white instant card with converted mana cost 4 or less, and play that card without paying its mana cost, and then shuffle your library. It's pretty cool. Really, really, really good effect. We do use it a little bit. We have like 10 instants that we can capitalize on this with. Partly in there because it gives a +4/+0, and it's also in there because it gives the ability to use that Sunforger trigger. We're running a few Planeswalkers, mostly because they have some sort of destructive ability, but we're running a Johnny Vengeant because he can make a permanent not untap, which is nice, or we can -2 to deal 3 damage and gain 3 life, or we can -7 to destroy all lands target player controls. Then we have Elspeth Knight Errant. She's a 4-cost Planeswalker. We can +1 to put a 1/1 soldier onto the board. That's pretty cool. We can +1 to give target creature +3/+3 and flying until end of turn, which is very nice. We give our general that because we give that to our general. Now she's a 6/6 double strike flyer. So she's going to hit for 12. That's serious damage. Then we have Elspeth Sun's Champion. We can +1 her to put 3 creatures onto the board. We can -3 her to destroy all creatures with power 4 or greater, which we generally won't use because that is all of our guys for the most part. And then we can -7 to you get an emblem with creatures you control, get +2/+2 in flying. We're mostly just going to +1 her to get guys until we can go ahead and get the flying emblem. Then we have Gideon Jura. You can +1 him to make creatures have to attack him, which is cool. It gives you like a pseudo fog effect, and you can play with the what's going on the board a little bit. And then we have -2, destroy target tap creature. That's mostly why we have him in here, is to be able to destroy target tap creatures. And then we can pay 0 to make him a creature and attack and damage and all that. He's really in here for the -2 to destroy target tap creature. We have Koth of the Hammer. I'm a big fan of Koth. I think he's pretty underrated. I like him a lot, being a 4-cost planeswalker. You can untap target mountain. It becomes a 4/4 red elemental creature token, and it's still land. That's like a pseudo mana ramp. You know, you tap it for the mana, use his ability to untap it, tap it again for the mana. It's a pseudo mana ramp. And then you can -2 to add red 2 mana pool for each mountain you control. That gets better and better as the game goes on. And you can -5 to you get an emblem with mountains you control can tap to deal 1 damage to target creature or player. And so we're basically going to be using his ability to +1 until we can -5 for the emblem. And that just becomes a clock for the opponent, you know. And really, you can just start eliminating their creatures as well. And then we have Sarkhan the Dragon Speaker. He's mostly in here because we can -3, and he deals 4 damage to a target creature, just for the removal mainly. I mean, he can become a creature, and we do get the emblem, but he's really just in there for the removal. Planeswalkers are nice for removal because you can just keep reusing it and reusing it and reusing it. It's not a lot of investment. It's actually no investment once you get them down. So for sorceries, we're running Bright Flame because it's fun. Day of Judgment, End Hostilities, Feud Killer's Verdict is fun because we gain 10 life, and then if we have more life than the opponent, we get a 5/5 white giant warrior. That's pretty cool. Giant's Ire is pretty cool. 4 cost. Giant's Ire does 4 damage to target player. If you control a giant, draw a card. And we generally will control a giant, so we generally will draw a card. That's just in there for the fun. Rout and Wrath of God. So we're basically running a couple sweepers, a couple fun spells. Not really much going on there. For enchantments, we're running Assembled Legion. This is mostly just in there because it is going to be generating us some blockers, and it gets out of control quickly. You go from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5, and when you start getting like 5, 6, 7 tokens a turn that have haste, it's really just nice. And we're not particularly using them for the haste until we're going to maybe Alpha Strike, but it does have the ability to really just give us a lot of guys very quickly, if not contained. We have Awaken the Ancient, a 4-cost enchantment aura. Enchanted Mountain is a 7/7 red giant with haste, and it's still a land. Mostly in there because we can turn a land into a 7/7 giant. Favor the Mighty, 2-cost. Each creature with the highest converted mana cost has protection from all colors. This one's a little bit of a gamble because it could be the opponent, but we're generally just going to go on the fact that we have some 5, 6, 7-cost guys, so we're really hoping it'll be us. And Pyrrhemia, 4-cost enchantment at the beginning of your end step. If you control if there are no creatures on the battlefield, sacrifice it. But we can pay 1 red, and Pyrrhemia does 1 damage to each creature and each player. We're going to use this to really just pave the way for our big guys. A lot of our guys have 4 power or higher, so we could pretty easily use this, ping 3 times, and wipe out a bunch of our opponent's creatures, and then go ahead and swing in for the damage. For our instants, these are instants that provide us with good effects, as well as being able to work with Sunforger. So first off, we have Boros Charm. I like this spell a lot. You can choose 1, deal 4 damage to a player, or permanent you control get indestructible until end of turn, or target creature gains double strike until end of turn. We're generally going to use the double strike or the indestructible, whichever one suits the current time. Then we have Crush Underfoot, a 2-cost instant. It's also a tribal instant, so it's a giant spell. Choose a giant creature you control. It deals damage equal to its power to target creature. That's really fun. Deflecting Palm. Next time a source of your choice will deal damage to you this turn, prevent that damage. If damage is permitted this way, Deflecting Palm deals that much damage to its controller. Just a nice way to really throw damage back in someone's face, so that's always good. Double Cleave, 2-cost, target creature gets double strike. Harm's Way is a fun spell, 1-cost instant that you can prevent 2 damage and reflect that 2 damage back to a creature or a player. So it's really just lets you do some combat tricks, and it's really, really fun. Intimidation Bolt is nice to use on your opponent's turn. It's a 3-cost instant. Intimidation Bolt does 3 damage to target creature. Other creatures can't attack this turn. So your opponent goes to combat, you nail one of their guys for 3, and the rest of their guys can't attack. Pretty cool ability. Lightning Helix, very well known as the reason it's a $4 card. It's an instant, deals 3 damage, gains 3 life. Pretty good. Master Warcraft, I think, is a really good card. It's a 4-cost spell, so that puts us into the threshold for Sunforger, but you can cast it only before attackers are declared. You choose which creatures attack this turn, and you choose how each creature will block this turn. So basically, you can use this one of 2 ways. If you think your opponent's going to Alpha Strike, you can cast it and say, none of you guys are going to block. And then if you're going to use it on your turn, you can say, all my guys are blocking, and attacking rather, and none of your guys are. So it really has some good effect in there. Then we have Ride Down. 2 mana instant. Destroy target blocking creature. Creatures that were blocked by that creature gain trample until end of turn. So basically what we want to do is swing with one of our huge guys. It's going to get blocked by a creature. We're going to cast Ride Down, and it is going to just have the damage go through. Because the creature's gone, and our creature gets trample. So we just send the damage right on through. We have Silence. Silence is nice just for when you want to make it through to your turn unscathed. If you have a plan for your turn, at the beginning of their upkeep, cast Silence so they can't cast anything. So that way you sort of have a protected turn. And then Temur Battle Rage. 2-cost instant. Target creature gains double strike until end of turn, and target creature also gains trample if they have power 4 or greater, which will be most of our guys. Now on to the last category, which is the creatures. First up we run Bloodfire Colossus. He's an 8-cost 6/6 that you can pay 1 red, and you can sacrifice him to deal 6 damage to a creature, or 6 damage to each creature and each player. Sort of like a pseudo-wrath. But I mean, if your opponent's down to 6, you just win. Then we have Bloodshot Cyclops. He's a 6-cost 4/4. We can tap him to sacrifice a creature. Bloodshot Cyclops deals damage equal to the sacrificed creature's power to target creature or player. You can really do some nasty things with him where you just start throwing guys at your opponent. Then we have Boldware Intimidator. He's a 7-cost 5/5 giant warrior, and I like this guy a lot. He's pretty fun. He says cowards can't block warriors. And then he has the ability to pay 1 red, and target creature becomes a coward until end of turn. So you can make your opponent's creatures cowards. And for 3 mana, you can make your creatures warriors, and then cowards can't block warriors. You can see how that works out. Then we have Borderland Behemoth. This is a 7-cost 4/4 giant warrior. Borderland Behemoth gets +4/+4 for each other giant you control. If you have 5 other giants out, this guy gets a +20/+20. That's serious damage. And then you just throw him at someone with your Bloodshot Cyclops, and you do 20 damage to them. But you can see how this guy can get out of hand in a giant tribal deck. Then we have Brian Stoutarm. He's a 4-cost 4/4 with lifelink, and you can pay 1 red, sacrifice a creature to throw it at. You can throw it at someone's creature or to a player, and because he has lifelink, you're also going to gain that much life. And this is just another one of the ways we can just sort of finish someone off when we get close. Then we have Callous Giant. He's a 6-cost 4/4. If a source would deal 3 damage or less to Callous Giant, prevent that damage. This guy's really cool because if we have out, say, our Pyrohemia, we can deal 1 damage to everything. He won't take any damage because it's less than 3. Deal 1 damage to everything. He won't take any. So we can really use this to do some cool damage. Then we have Chancellor Forge. He's a 7-cost 5/5. And when he comes into play, we get a 1/1 red Hasty Goblin for every other creature we control. So that's really cool just to get some guys on the board. Desolation Giant, 4-cost 3/3. When he comes into play, destroy all other creatures you control. If he was kicked, destroy all other creatures instead. So if we just cast him, we lose all of our guys. If we cast him while kicked, everybody loses all their guys, but we keep him. So he's really pretty cool. Flesh Purple Giant is a 7-cost 4/4. Flesh Purple Giant enters the battlefield. You may destroy a target creature with toughness 2 or less. He's mostly in there to just sort of kill off some of the more techie creatures that people have. A lot of the creatures with good abilities are really weak creatures. Next up we have Giant Harbinger. He's a 5-cost 3/4. When Giant Harbinger comes into play, you may search your library for a giant card, reveal it, and shuffle your library and put that card on top of it. This just lets us make sure we get the giant we want as our next draw. Nothing really crazy going on with him. Hamlet Back Goliath. He's a 7-cost 6/6. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield, you may put X+1/+1 counters on Hamlet Back Goliath, where X is that creature's power. This guy gets really big really fast, and that's what we love about him. And we usually throw him away with either Bloodshot Cyclops or Brian Stoutarm just to nail someone in the face with a lot of damage. We have Hammerheim Deadeye. He's a 4-cost 3/3 with Echo 5 and red, but we generally don't pay the Echo. When Hammerheim Deadeye enters the battlefield, destroy target creature with flying. Mostly in there just for some removal. Then we have 100-Handed One. He's in there because he's really fun. He's a 4-cost 3/5 with Vigilance and Monstrosity 4/6. As long as 100-Handed One is monstrous, it has reach and can block an additional 99 creatures each combat. So he can block 100 creatures. That's pretty fun. Impale Giant is a 6-cost 3/3 with Trample. You can tap an untapped red creature you control other than himself, and he gets +X/+0 until end of turn, where X is the power of the creature tapped this way. This guy can also get out of hand, and we can also throw him away with Bloodshot and Brian. Then we have everybody's favorite Inferno Titan, a 6-cost 6/6 who comes in, he deals 3 damage. When he attacks, he deals 3 damage. That 3 damage can be divided in any way you choose between creatures and players, and he also has fire breathing with the pay 1 red to get +1/+0. We have Ivory Giant. He's a 7-cost 3/4 with Suspend for 5 via 1 white mana. When Ivory Giant enters the battlefield, tap all non-white creatures. This is mostly in there as a way for us to hopefully just be able to alpha strike someone. I mean, we do have quite a few red creatures, but we also do have quite a few white creatures. Then we have Kalemne Captain. Because we're playing Kalemne, we might as well play the Captain. He's a 5-cost 5/5 with Vigilance and Monstrous 3 via 5 and 2 white. When Kalemne's Captain becomes monstrous, exile all artifacts and enchantments. That's really just in there because sometimes you just got to get rid of stuff. Then we have Ferric Axe Giant. He's a 5-cost 3/3 with Tribute 2. When Ferric Axe Giant enters the battlefield, if its tribute wasn't page, Ferric Axe Giant deals 5 damage to each opponent. Someone will probably pay it and make him a 5/5. No one wants to take 5 damage. Then we have Sting Drinker Daredevil. He's a goblin, the only non-giant in the deck, but that's because giant spells you cast 2 less while he's on the board. Then we have Stonehewer Giant. He's a 5-cost 4/4 with Vigilance, and you can pay 2 via 1 and a white. Tap him to search your library for an equipment card and put it onto the battlefield. So we have 3 equipments in here. We have Argentum Armor, Nim Deathmantle, and Sunforger will be getting one of those 3, obviously. Then we have Stone Shock Giant. He's a 5-cost 5/4 giant with Monstrous 3 by paying 8 mana. When Stone Shock Giant becomes monstrous, creatures without flying or opponent's control can't block this turn. It's just another way for us to possibly alpha strike. Sunhome Enforcer is a 4-cost 2/4 giant soldier. When Sunhome Enforcer deals combat damage, you gain that much life. He's a little different, I guess, than some lifelink creatures because he has to deal combat damage, not just damage. So it's a little more difficult. I wouldn't say difficult, but a little different in the way that you can, if he was to ping someone, if you were to give him a way to ping, and you ping someone with him, he's not going to gain the life because it's only via combat damage. But that's alright, because he'll be attacking anyways. And Sunhome Enforcer gets +1/+1 until end of turn by paying 1 and a red. So it's pretty cool. It's good. Sunrise Sovereign is a 6-cost 5/5. Other giant creature you control get +2/+2 and trample. This guy in the deck is a monster. He really, really is. He'll just come down and give all of our guys trample, and they're all going to be basically a minimum for the most part of a 5/5. Then we have Thundercloud Shaman. He's a 5-cost 4/4. When Thundercloud Shaman enters the battlefield, it deals damage equal to the number of giants you control to each non-giant creature. This guy can do serious damage. If we have 6 other giants, and he deals 5 or 6 other damage to each non-giant creature, we only have 1 non-giant creature, that's our little goblin. Otherwise, the opponents are taking quite a bit of hurt to their creatures. And lastly, we have War Chief Giant. This guy has really, really cool art with the Myriad thing going on. And but other than that, he's a 5-cost 5/3 with haste and Myriad. Just it's pretty fun. That's all. But he has haste and Myriad, which is whenever he attacks, you put a copy into play attacking each other player besides the one you were attacking. So it's really, really pretty cool. Especially if you have something out like your Hamlet back Goliath, because when you attack and you get those 2/5/3s, he's going to get 10 more counters, and that is also very fun. But yeah, this is the totality of the deck here. As you can see, it's a pretty even spread between red and white. Pretty heavy on the creatures, as it is a tribal deck. The curve isn't that great. I mean, it curves all right into 2, and then not too bad into 4, and then pretty well down after. So once we get to like turn 6 is when you can almost comfortably play 2 spells a turn for the most part. But yeah, this is the Kalemne Disciple of Iroas Giant Tribal deck that we came up with for Inferno Gamer. Hope you enjoy the deck tech. This has been Derek with Tap and Turn Gaming. Thanks a lot, and goodbye.